Good morning. My name is Gauvin with Adams Cameron Realty, and this is Kevin.
Kevin Boudreau with Fairway Independent Mortgage Company in DeLand, Florida.
And together we're here to talk about the Hometown Heroes mortgage bond program that just got approved by Governor DeSantis and funded the other day. So that's a very important fact. It just got funded.
$100 million to start
right.
too. They said to start, so that's a good thing that they want this to continue year in and year out.
Right. It's we've all been going through crazy times with the pandemic, so this is the state's way and really basically everyone else's way to giving back to those first responders that gave their lives for us. So Kevin's here to explain how that Hometown Heroes program is going to work, and I'll just turn it over to him.
Hey everyone, Kevin Boudreau. What's cool about this too is our Florida ran the biggest surplus ever. So with some of that money that they had from all the tax revenues they've been collecting, they started this program to give back to about 50 different occupations that are out there serving our community and that are in need for closing costs, down payment help, because in this market, the way it's been, a lot of buyers haven't been able to get any help.
Right. I mean, I've been in many multiple offer situations, and especially with interest rates rising, these programs are perfect to take advantage of at the time that they're coming out. And so please listen to this information, share it with your friends and family, and let them know, because if they're a licensed professional in education, fire, nurses, doctors, veterans,
teachers, paramedics, EMT, there's 50 of them, speech language pathologists, pharmacist tech, basically anything where you have a certification or a license through the state of Florida. That's the key with this program, is you got to be licensed or certified to the state of Florida in one of these different things. So child care instructor, registered nurse, LPNs, home health aides. I mean, there's literally 50 of them. Respiratory therapists, occupational therapists.
That's a lot of different occupations that can take advantage.
Dental hygienists. The next time you get your teeth cleaned, they can get a mortgage.
Exactly. Up to $25,000 off.
So this program is 5% of your loan amount, capped at $25,000. So if you did a $500,000 loan, you don't obviously have to go that high, but if you do, you get the $25,000. So it's just 5% times your loan amount. So on $300,000 loan amount, you get 15 grand. That 15 grand goes towards your down payment and your closing costs.
Really? So essentially, if I was to buy a $250,000 home, closing costs usually run me about 15 to 20 grand. Is that? So you're telling me I wouldn't have to pay anything?
Well, not closing costs, thank God.
Or
I mean out of pocket.
Costs. Well, the deposit's 3.5% down. You know what I'm talking about.
I know. I'm just making sure. The closing costs are nowhere near that, but your total cash contribution or investment in the home usually runs between $14,000 to $16,000 on a 250 house. Correct. Your down payment plus your closing costs. With this program, this would cover the majority of it. So let's give an example. An FHA loan. You need 3.5% down payment, and you need about 3% for closing costs.
Okay.
So you're looking at 6.5%. So with this program, you would have 5%
already
through the program, and all you need is 1.5%, which is much easier for these buyers to be able to save up a little bit of money. So a lot of people are going to be able to get into a house for maybe $3,000 to $5,000 out of their pocket.
And does that add any interest or any bonus points or anything to the house? Or I got to be paying for this somehow?
They all have certain, caveats that you got to do, but there's no real strings attached. It's a zero interest second mortgage. So it's a silent second mortgage. What that means is you never have to pay it back until you sell or refinance the home. So that could be 20 years from now. It could be 5 years from now. But at the point you do sell or refinance and get out of this loan, they do want you to pay back the 15.
Do you happen to know if there's any time restraints? Like, can I buy a home this year and sell it in 3 years? And
you could. Yeah, you're not limited to sell. Just, whenever you do sell, you're just going to pay back the money, but at zero interest. So
that sounds fair, right?
Yeah. So what it's going to do is going to allow people that were kind of pushed out of this market to be able to buy now and take advantage of the appreciation that we're still seeing in Florida. We're scheduled to have, all the economists say, about 8 to 10% appreciation this year.
That's pretty good. That's good. Better than my bank account's getting right now, I'll tell you that.
And next year, 3 to 4%. So what they're saying is the market is going to, the supply and the demand is going to catch up with each other a little bit. It's going to be easier over the next year or two for buyers to be able to finance a home because there's going to be a little less competition. Buyers aren't going to have to give up their firstborn child just to get in a home. which I've seen in the contracts.
But you still get them approved though, right?
We do.
Hey, that's all that matters.
I mean, you might not like your firstborn. That's okay. But
Hey. He's in good hands, folks, if he does get it. Trust me.
so this is just a great way. So some of the minimum criterias and some of the things you have to think about is you have to have a 640 credit score. So not great, not good, just average credit.
Okay.
We can do this on FHA, VA, USDA, and conventional. The USDA, VA, and FHA have a better rate. Conventional is a little higher on this program, but it can be done.
Okay.
If you have a 680 or better, you can go up to 50% debt to income ratio. If you're 680 to 640, it's capped at 45%.
Okay.
And what's pretty cool about this is we can have actual co-signers. So that means, let's say you have a mom or dad. Let's say, let me tell stories, right? People relate to stories. So you have a couple, young couple, one's a teacher, maybe the husband does something else, but maybe the husband's credit stinks, right? He got into some trouble a couple of years ago, he didn't rebuild his credit, so we can't put him on this loan.
Right,
we
can't use his income either.
Correct, but we know they can afford the house.
Okay.
Just on paper, we can't use that person's income, so we're limited. Your mom, your dad, your brother, someone could co-sign, so they don't go on title. It's just like co-signing for a car. The combined income can't be over $118,000. That's the key. $118,000 is the
So
max.
someone could co-sign for a loan. A single mom, her dad could co-sign with her on the loan, which is not usually allowed to do in regular mortgages. Why is that stipulation on this?
Because they want people to buy. And
wow.
So they don't have to be on title. They're not a non-occupant. They're just a true co-signer is what they call it, which is pretty unique to some of the other bond programs out there. This one allows it. So give you an example, another story. If you have a person that maybe gets a lot of child support but doesn't get it, they're
right,
and that happens a lot. There's people I talk to, they're not getting the child support they're supposed to because we have to show that they've been getting it for 12 months. So a lot of people are supposed to get $800-900 a month to help with the kids. The dad's not paying for whatever reason, so we can't use that income. So with this, that cosigner could kick in, or if that cosigner could help if one of the spouses doesn't have the correct credit score.
Is massage therapist on here?
That's a great question. Osteophysician, acupuncture, chiropractor.
That's pretty wild.
Veterinarian, 911 operator, licensed child care instructor, massage therapist.
Wow, pretty awesome.
I'm getting one tomorrow. I'm gonna have to talk to my girl and tell her.
Therapists, counselors. Okay, so a lot of people could just have these co-signers in place, and they could basically circumvent someone with bad credit on, like, say they have a spouse or a boyfriend or someone that's significant other that could also contribute, but they don't have the proper credit. They could circumvent that with a co-signer with their parents or family.
They could, yeah.
Or anybody, essentially. It could be anybody, or is it only family members?
I honestly not 100% sure about that. It literally just says co-signers.
But literally
not
have a
on
co-signer, so that is an awesome thing. So that opens up the whole game, the whole ballpark to a whole bunch of different people that couldn't even have.
This is going to help thousands of people in Florida that really need this help. So it's very exciting. I don't get too excited about new programs. There's usually strings attached always, or limitations. So, but with this program, it is really good. It's the best one out there if you're in one of the occupations.
Of course, you have to meet the criteria to get this.
Marriage therapists, mental health counselors. I mean,
that is awesome.
And we can send this list to them. So if they want to request more information, we can send you the full list.
Directly. Correct. All right, and So, any other details that you have about this mortgage program that you would like to share with everybody? It's a regular 15-year mortgages, or
it's a 30-year fix.
Okay, 30-year fix.
And the government one is right now as 5.25, so it's actually below the market.
Oh wow!
And the conventional one was 6.25 as of yesterday, so it is higher for conventional. But you can do any of the loan programs depending on, what price house you want, what's your debt to income ratio, what's your credit score. So depending on your situation is how we figure out which option is best.
Are you still able to get a loan that has, like, say, construction with it? Like, can you do a construction loan with this as well?
No construction loans. Construction loans are very particular.
Okay.
Usually the local community banks are better for buying the land and construction. We can do new construction. So if you're going through a builder.
Or what about a renovation?
No renovation.
No renovation loans as well. Okay.
No. They want people. This is for first-time home buyers. Another important tidbit. You can't have been on title to any property in the last 3 years. That's one of the keys. They want
Okay.
people that don't own, that are currently renting and spending all that money on rent, because rent has gone up so much in Florida.
Exponentially. I mean, we've seen house prices go up by 30% in 1 year. I wonder what the rent's doing too to catch up.
It's just as higher. It's insane right now. So this is for people that haven't owned. So it doesn't mean you've never owned. It just means you haven't been on title to any property in 3 years. That's it.
Okay. Awesome. So, you do other services as well, not just the Hometown Heroes. What other bond programs do you think you provide to the people?
Well, there's the Chenoa program.
Okay.
Chenoa is an FHA down payment assistance program. Very similar criteria, right? Most of them want that 640 credit score. Most of them have income limits. The Chenoa is based on household income.
Okay. So everyone in the house that's of age.
Correct. So
Okay.
the more people in your family, more dependents you have, the more you can make and still qualify.
Okay.
They also have one program, but you got to have a certain credit score that they don't have income limits. So, it might work. And that can give you either 3% or 5% towards down payment, closing costs, whatever.
That's a pretty good chunk right there as
Yeah.
well.
And the Chenoa is actually through the Indian Fund.
Is that property specific or how does
Just FHA.
just FHA?
So
Okay.
any property in Florida that can go FHA and the borrower is approved to go FHA, they could look at the Chenoa program.
So some condos may not be acceptable for that.
Correct, because it's
Okay.
FHA. Most condos aren't approved FHA.
Right.
And it's just hard. I mean, because FHA is actually pretty flexible. They'll allow us to go get a condo approved.
Right.
The problem is a seller will not usually accept an offer on a not approved FHA, hoping that we go get it approved. Because they
Correct.
won't know if it's going to get approved or not for a couple weeks.
Right to the end.
So technically, we could. It's just in this market, sellers aren't waiting.
Patience is a virtue, folks. Remember that.
And then there's also the regular Florida bond,
Okay.
which is again FHA, VA, conventional. There's a $7,500 one and a $10,000 one.
Oh wow.
And the new one, the Hometown Heroes, has a higher income limit. So the other ones, we did a lot of Florida bond back when it was 15 grand. It used to be forgivable after 5 years.
Okay.
When they changed it to 7,500, then they upped it to 10. It's good, but it just doesn't quite get you there, because one of the features on the Hometown Heroes that is so good is on most bond programs, the lenders have to charge a 1% fee, or it's called origination fee,
Okay.
because the bond programs pay them very little. With this program with DeSantos that rolled out for Florida, they're actually paying the lender that 1% extra, and they're not allowed to charge that.
Oh.
So it actually means that all 5% is going towards actual closing
interest,
costs
right.
and actual down payment. There's no 1% fee, because on the normal bond program, let's say you get 10 grand, but you're doing a $300,000 loan, 3,000 of that money will be eaten up by the lender fee.
Wow.
So you're only getting 7.
They find a way to get everything, huh? Even on free money.
Well, there is no free money.
There is
in
no
this
free
world.
money.
But there are ways to help you get a home. So I tell everybody, there's no free lunch, but there's assistance. And
Right.
each program has its strengths and weaknesses. And depending on your situation, that's where a good loan officer is going to figure out what is best for you. It's not a one-size-fits-all type of thing. If you're the bank you're talking to or the lender, and they're just saying, "Hey, do you want fries with your Coke? Your Happy Meal?" That's not the way it is. You gotta dig into their situation, and we gotta figure out what is best for them based on their goals, their needs, but more importantly, their financial situation. Because that's what we gotta dig into and figure out based on where they stand today.
Okay.
What is best for them. And I always like giving options. So sometimes it's a bond program versus a low down first time buyer program with no assistance, but you can see you might have a better rate in payment over here
Right.
if you're able to borrow from like a 401k, get a gift funds from family. So a lot of times when people look at it side by side, they go, okay, that's
Now you
plan
see the
A,
pro-
that's plan B.
Right. You can see the pros and cons of each, and it's individualized plan. And at least you have that option in front of you to make a choice. A lot of people don't have that choice, or they feel like they don't have that choice. So
You always have choices.
you always have choices. You just got to go out and find them.
And math doesn't lie. Numbers are numbers. So I
Right.
tell everyone, look, let's put them side by side. The most important things you're going to look at is payment on one program versus another. Interest rate, obviously, but payment is like what you pay it back in. So look at payments. and look at your cash to close. One program might have a better payment, but you're going to need a lot more money up front.
Right.
So those are things to consider when we're figuring out what is best for you.
Well, it sounds like put them in your hands, Kevin. You can make that decision for them, huh?
Been doing this 19 years, done thousands and thousands of mortgages. So yes, I love, taking someone's situation and hearing their story and tailor make the right mortgage for them, because it's their mortgage. It
sounds like that personal fit, right? It's not a one-stop shop. Everyone gets personal attention and personalized, and each individual's basically got their own story. So
I don't like Burger King, but you can have it your way with Kevin. Don't eat Burger King, it's disgusting. But I love their slogan, you can have it your way.
To have it your way, huh? So how do people reach you?
They can give me a call, 407-718-5588, and I'll go ahead and I'll just send you my email as well. It's long. It's long.
We're going to put it in the links, folks. That's all right. But don't worry. I'm Gene Gauvin with Adams Cameron & Company, and this is Kevin Boudreau.
If you have any questions, Jeannie and I are here to help, man. We really enjoy helping families achieve the dream of home. I can't even talk. Home ownership.
Home ownership is key.
What people don't realize, the average renter has the average homeowner has 44 times the net worth as the average renter.
Of course, because when they sell their home and they can pass it to their kids, and homes gain equity. It's a hedge against inflation. There's so many different. It's like putting money in the bank, but you're living in it.
Well, that was that statistic blew my mind. I knew it was a big number, but 44 times, and this was from the Federal Reserve study. This wasn't from Kevin Boudreau looking on the internet. This is the Federal Reserve came up with this, and I read it a couple years ago, and it absolutely blew my mind. 44 times the average renter's net worth.
Houses go for a lot of money these days. We're out there looking every day.
And the sooner you get in, especially if you're in your early 20s, because what a lot of people don't realize is they go to school for, let's say you want to be a nurse, and we can get you a mortgage with your 30 days of pay stubs or your employment contract. We can actually use your schooling for your 2-year work history.
So you don't even have to have your tax returns or anything like that?
Nope. Pay stubs, verification of employment, and so the 2 years would be like education. So you go to college to be an engineer. You don't have to wait 2 years of actually doing engineering. You could actually do it right away after college. You get a good job, you get a job contract, we can roll and get you in the house.
That's also very important news to know. You hear that?
Because the sooner you get in, over 30 or 40 years, imagine how much equity you're building in multiple homes over the lifetime.
That is very crucial.
If I had to do it over again, I would have bought my first house faster. I think I was 27,
okay,
but I would have done it much sooner. And we can do another video on this, but
go ahead.
I was just going to say, you can get in on a VA or FHA loan for very little money down and buy a multi-family product, like a duplex or a triplex.
That is something.
And we can use the rent to qualify, and you don't have to put 20 or 25% down like an investment property. So you just have to live in there 1 year. But that'll be a whole nother video.
That's a good idea. I'm going to have to pick his brain about that right now, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Like, follow, subscribe.